daily stretch routine. So I think if you have anxiety, if you have depression, if you find you easily go into overwhelm, I think it's very important to have a practice that allows you to reset your system. And so for me, I have found over time, I have played with a series of postures that make an enormous difference to how I feel. So this is my routine, my morning routine, how I release contraction in my body. So generally, I might start cross-legged. So usually I'll start with a twist. Breathing out. Legs wide apart and beginning gently, inhaling to the center, exhaling either side, beginning very gently to allow my body to stretch and to open up, to release down, to let the contraction soften by itself, not to force it by immediately folding over, but to allow myself to gently stretch. And as I get more flexible, I'm going to swap the breaths. I'm going to exhale my left elbow into the inner thigh of my left knee. That's my exhale. Inhaling again. And then right elbow into the inner thigh, inhaling open. Inhaling open and exhaling. Powerful stretches. So beginning the process of saying to the organs of the body that it's all safe and it's all okay. Legs crossed. I'll start to the left. So putting my right hand on my left knee, I'm going to begin to pull myself very gently. Notice this quite sort of wiggly movement. I can really feel my opposite hip and the hip flexor. So I'm lowering myself down onto my thigh and inhaling up. And then left hand on my right knee, gently persuading my body, and movement of the arms and the elbows releases all the contraction through the fascia in the body and allows me to lower myself down. Inhaling up. And then forward, gradually, same thing, pivoting on my spine, going all the way across the back of the pelvis, the back of the thighs, lowering down, and inhaling up. And then hands on knees. This is very much a stretch now for the vagus nerve, very specifically. Shoulders back. Inhaling up, big chest, neck stretched, and then exhaling. And really seriously slouching. Inhaling, shoulders back. You can do this for as long as you like, but what you're doing is you're resetting the vagus nerve and how the vagus nerve speaks to the fascia in the body, resetting the system. And notice, certainly for me, I notice I'm much happier now, eyes closed. I could sit after that and be very still. Hello. I could sit and be very still now. So from there, let's go onto the knees. We've done some of these stretches individually, but putting them into a series can be very nice. Inhaling up, flexing back. Exhaling, curling up. So I begin to release the hips, the psoas muscle, inhaling up. Exhaling, curling up. And it's funny because you kind of think, surely you've stretched all of that in what you've just done, but it keeps going on. So now, coming onto all fours. Come on, out. We're going to push up into triangle pose and push back. So pushing up and back. Notice if I drop one knee underneath, you think you've stretched your back and you discover that there's still more and more to stretch. This relaxes the vagus nerve because the organs of the body drop away from the pelvis. So twisting from side to side and then lifting up one leg as high as I can and opening the hips. Exhaling down, same on the other side, lifting up as high as I can. That's really lovely. And then let's get rid of the dog. You're such a monkey. Come here, come on, out. Out, come on, out. Come on, out. And then, onto the stomach. Sit down, come on, sit down. Onto the stomach, good girl. So, onto the stomach. Hands under the shoulders, shoulders rolled back, inhaling up, exhaling down. Shoulders rolled back, inhaling up, keep the shoulders down, exhaling down, come on, out. Shoulders back, inhaling up, exhaling down. And by combining all the various elements that have come into the different films, we can create a routine. And we can create a routine that actually very profoundly changes how we feel within ourselves and how we feel about ourselves and how we respond. So we start to take over our system, we start to create a better response within ourselves, which means that we soften our vagus nerve, remember the lecture, and we soften our vagal response within and to the other, or the others. So, not very complex, but if you wake up in the morning, that series of stretches, I could go from cobra into the wide-kneed stretch with the knees bent, and then from there go into bow pose. I could stand up and stretch, I could stretch out the inner thighs more. But it's about recognising that there are certain stretches that stretch the front of the body and they enable you to soften. They enable you to relax and become more present. They enable you to be out of the pain of the future, out of the fear and projection. They enable you to be out of the pain of the past and out of the future projection, and actually in your present body. And that's a very nice thing to be able to do to yourself and to everybody else. So it's a kind of self-care, but it's also other care as well. So everything I've done has opened up my hips, released my back, stretched all of the vagus nerve through the front of the body, opened the chest, reset the system. And I'm really sorry about the dog. You're horrible, Marla. Don't love